Hi guys, I'm Kranti Sambhav. Welcome to Times Drive today in this special interview under Stay Home, Stay Safe campaign under lockdown. We are communicating to special people via online conference calling. And today we have Mr. Partha Datta, who is President and MD FCA India. Thanks a lot taking out time for us. And the first question: how is lockdown treating you?
Hi, Kranti, and everybody else. Thank you for the introduction. The special people are everywhere. They're out there as well. So nothing special about me. Lockdown's okay. It's been treating me just like it has been everybody else. I'm trying to find ways of staying connected with the team, working from home, trying to stay connected with the family, and making sure that I get some steps in every day, keep my heart moving, keep the team motivated, all of these things, and communicating with different parts of the business as well.
So, interacting with many industry veterans and even different industries, everyone is saying that somehow this is more productive for them. Same case with you also?
I don't know about more productive, but I would say that I've been surprised at how productive it is. Honestly, no one's been put in this situation before now. So when this started, there was a lot of questions in my mind as, man, how we can from home. But it has turned out to be effective.
Right. And now coming back to the scenario, as mass market was not doing too well anyway. And after Corona plus BS6 transition, what's your reading as far as Indian auto market is concerned right
now? I guess the light Kanti is we're going to come back, of course. But I would say that in the short term, there's going to be a dip. There's different pundits all over the industry that are predicting different things. I think IHS says somewhere between 7% less growth compared to the last year, which is the optimistic forecast. And worst case, we'll see a deceleration over last year by about 10%. Then there's other, people, Frost and Sullivan. There's different other. Everyone has a different take on it. I think it would be somewhere between 7 and 10% is what my take is. We're going to see a slowdown. I expect the industry to come in close to 2.7 million, maybe. So that's going to be a pretty significant hit. But again, it's going to be temporary. It isn't going to stay there forever. We've come out of big recessions, and we'll rebound from this as well, like we always do.
Yes, that we do. And reading as far as your own brand is concerned?
I think Jeep is considered one of those brands that, that's transcended time. We've been around for 80 years. So from a brand standpoint, I think the brand awareness, the love for the brand, the community that we've engendered, all of that stays extremely strong. People know and always gravitate towards brands that give them and that empower them and make them feel confident. And there's few brands that embody that spirit as much as Jeep does. It's been well received in India. We're the most trusted brand award. Compass has been one of the most awarded vehicles all around. So those things, I think, are deep in the customer psyche, and it's a brand that's trusted. So it'll definitely transcend this. I don't see the brand itself, taking anything. It'll sail through it well. Of course, the segments are always going to be something that we'll have to see and watch and see how they evolve.
And when you talk about segments, compact SUV segment is something which is buzzing, and sub-4 meter SUV, which we keep hearing about. Tell us more about that.
Sub-4 meter SUV from a generic standpoint or for Jeep?
For Jeep.
Okay. So it is a product in the Capital Markets Day when Mr. Marchioni, had presented it, the late Mr. Marchioni in 2018, when we presented our business plan. We had mentioned that, we're actively working on the sub-4 meter SUV. And we are. It is something that we plan to bring to our showrooms in India. So I'm not ready to make any announcement here, Kranti, but it is something that's actively in the works and we're developing.
So you are not going to say whether it's 20, 21, or 22.
I'm sorry, Kranti, I'm not going to. Good try, though.
One question, because I don't know why, but so many. Whenever, so what we do every day, we go live at 4:30 on our channels, and we have 10 questions, and all of a sudden, one viewer asked me return of fiat, and that is something which stuck with me. I thought I'll ask that first. What are your plans? What are you doing?
Yeah, Fiat's a wonderful brand. It remains a part of the FCA India portfolio. Fiat as a brand is not exiting the market. We continue to have it. Today's demand, Kranti, as you know, all around me, is primarily SUVs. Everybody wants an SUV, right? All around, like you said, the sub-4 meter SUV is buzzing, right? There's all kinds. Every company, every OEM, every segment is gravitating towards that body style. And, here we are with the preeminent SUV brand in the world. So I expect that, that's something that we will continue to be strong in, right?
Yeah. So nothing on Fiat.
So from a Fiat standpoint, today, we are focusing on the SUVs. We'll focus on Jeep in the near future. Fiat continues to be in our portfolio. When the time's right, based on demand, we will bring products back if that's what the market demands.
Okay, so if you talk about SUVs, then the seven-seater SUV was also in the pipeline. How's that development going on?
Very, very well. And it will be coming to the Jeep showrooms in India. I will not be able to tell you any time again, Kranti, as you expect. But it is, I will confirm for you that the seven-seater SUV will be part of the India portfolio. Again, as we had mentioned in the Capital Markets Day, and we've committed, it shows part of the commitment that Jeep has to this market, that will be a product that's coming to our shows.
Okay, so should I try more or?
From a timing standpoint, Kranti, probably not.
All right. But how's Compass doing as far as product is concerned? Because that's the only product which has that kind of appeal, or it helps you penetrate that or stay in that segment. How is that doing for you?
I think from a product standpoint, it's really well received. It's the most awarded SUV 2 years in a row. People love it. The love for that particular product. It's very, very respected from a quality standpoint. We have probably, I think the number was 72 JD Powers, number one in the premium SUV. So the Ranjangaon team's doing a fantastic job. The product is loved. It's well received. It is true that the portfolio needs to be, strengthened, which is why you asked the other two questions, probing as you did. So from that standpoint, certainly it does need siblings, and those siblings are on their way.
But I mean, looking at Indian market, don't you feel pressurized from global operations where you just have, very, as you mentioned, the portfolio is not that huge?
Yeah, the portfolio isn't as big as it, maybe the Indian market and the Indian customers, are looking for, and we're working to make sure that it is and it meets that demand. Your question, Kranti, I think you asked, do I feel pressure from the global side, as in within FCA?
Within FCA, yes.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's always pressure. I mean, in my position, there's pressure from all sides.
No, but sorry, just to give you context, most of the manufacturers, they feel pressurized because India is a market where everyone is looking at. So, varied products in your portfolio is a natural thing to do for most of the manufacturers. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. Like most other OEMs, I feel the pressure to make sure that my market share and sales improves. And one of the ways of doing that certainly is to get more footfalls into the dealership, be present in more segments, and that is precisely what we're trying to do. So yes, there is nothing more than business pressure that every businessman feels.
Talking about dealerships, how are you? How are they taking this lockdown, and how Jeep is helping their dealerships?
Yeah, I think from a dealership standpoint, there is going to be certainly an immediate impact on all dealerships. I can understand that as entrepreneurs, everybody right now is trying to conserve cash, right? We are also trying to help our partners at the same time. The short term is going to be challenging for everyone. And so that's what we're focusing on to make sure that we're working with our partners. We've introduced a tiered program, Kranti, which it's a tiered incentive program, allowing each dealer to earn from the very first car sold. We've also offered interest support to our partners, right, for the lockdown period. We're in touch with our banking partners to make sure that we get them the best possible rates. Typically, wherever there's opportunity for credit to be moved towards cash payments for dues, we've helped them with that because it's a time when most entrepreneurs need cash on hand. So where that's possible, we've been able to help with that. We provided support to make sure that their after-sales business is profitable. We're always open to also, work with them on fixed cost modifications. If there's something that a particular dealer or a particular DMA is seeing, we're very. We've also done another thing where we're trying to optimize the inventory pipeline. And, the support we're giving dealers will continue depending on how the market conditions evolve. We may have to do some more creative, innovative stuff.
And are they done with BS4 inventory, or they still had some?
Yeah, we are done with our BS4 inventory. I think there may be single-digit vehicles out there, very minimal. We are done with BS4. We're into BS6.
So how do you see that? As an industry expert, investment veteran, how do you see that? Because we did one interaction with Automobile Dealers Association as well. And this is turning out to be one of the biggest issues right now, because they were already under pressure, and with this lockdown, dealerships are struggling.
Yeah, for those brands and OEMs that have large fleets left over with BS6, that's true. Fortunately, we were able to. I think the team did a great job in making sure that the pipeline's clear for us. That's just my selfish view, but as an industry expert view, I do think BS6 as a norm is an important one for the country. It's something that India had to do. Maybe there's going to be some heartache now in the immediate future, especially because of the lockdown, Kranti, that is going to cause some level of vehicles to be maybe registered and then sold. So we're going to have to figure out, the dealers are going to have to figure that piece out. The bigger dynamic I see is actually in how this is going to affect the powertrain mix in the segments and how they evolve. The sales piece, will sail through, we'll get through.
Sorry, can you elaborate, please?
So when you look at a BS6, between a petrol and a diesel, the diesel variants, obviously when you go to BS6, the big deal is to the particulate matter for a petrol and a diesel now becomes equivalent. So, the old days that you heard of that the petrols were cleaner because they had less particulate emissions, no longer true. BS6 equals that. But to do that, diesels get more expensive generally than petrol engines get. So because of that, I feel that the entry-level segments, like the B segment diesels, and so you will see the mix there changing more towards the petrol. Premium products like the Jeep Compass and the others, people are still going to expect the performance of a diesel since they're paying for it. So there, I think, we'll still continue to have a healthy mix. And as you go into the D and the E segments, clearly diesel will continue to be a mainstay. But you go into the entry-level segments and you can already see it.
So you're saying entry-level, going back to petrol is what you were suggesting?
Yeah, I believe that the mix will change more towards the petrol in the entry level segments. Yes.
Right. One question which I wanted to ask you regarding this thing. If you talk about your strategy after COVID, this lockdown gets over. What's the first thing you think as an organization you're going to do?
First thing that we're going to see as an organization after COVID, I think the retail experience has changed, right? We're going to have to make sure that we step up to that for the customer's needs. Because I think people are beginning to get a lot more sensitive to personal space, the requirements and the needs. So the entire retail experience is something that we'll all have to react to very fast. I think that's one of the first things that we'll all have to see. As an industry, we'll all have to react to it. Customers now want, nobody in the car when they're test driving. They don't want to go to. So you'll see a lot more customers and a lot more OEMs make the digital experience a lot richer. That's one of the first paradigm shifts I think we're going to see right after this, and we're gearing up for it. Already, Jeep is started their online, sales, and we are beginning to see how demand shifts and how the customer interaction shifts as we move, post-COVID. And then, of course, there's the product in itself. People are going to start expecting unique selling propositions that have to do more with sanitization, hygiene in the car, so on and so forth. So those are some of the things that I expect the industry and, frankly, us, we're going to be leading, to get some of those in.
So that also connects to my next question, where personal mobility is again going to make a huge comeback. You feel that because the public transportation in big cities like Delhi and Mumbai, public transportation is huge. But now more and more people will, because of social distancing and all, they'll be trying and thinking of buying cars.
This is true. I think there's a two-pronged answer to that. Yes, Kanti, you're right. People are going to be thinking about, public transportation being a little more intimidating, and therefore they'll want some private space for themselves as they move to and from work. But I think most of those folks are going to be either in the entry-level segments or maybe two-wheelers, right, frankly. So I think they will see an upsurge. The two-wheelers and the entry-level segments are going to see an upsurge. And then there's going to be the other side where people who've been economically affected quite a bit by COVID, they're probably going to hold on to cash. So they're going to, put off their purchases a little bit. So I think some amount of incentivizing by the government is going to be very important for consumption. So, for instance, people have always talked about a incentive for, getting rid of the old vehicles that are on the road, a scrappage bonus or a scrappage incentive. So things like that are going to be very important, I think, to get the consumption going again.
And one last question, and generally these days, most of our interactions do end with electric vehicle questions. So,
yeah.
Electric, what's your thought and how, as a brand, you're looking at electric vehicles?
As a brand and as a company, we are very committed. Electric vehicles are indeed the future. We recognize that. Different markets are at different levels of infrastructure readiness, right? So if you look at Jeep, we're committed to becoming the greenest brand, the most eco-friendly brand on the planet of SUVs. Now, Jeep has already electrical SUVs, whether that's in the PHEVs, and plans for more. FCA as a company has BEVs, has PHEVs. So the technology exists currently. We have it right in our fold, on the bench, on the shelf, and we can deploy it at any time. We're watching the market. Frankly, the infrastructure in many markets, and India's, amongst them, is not quite there. And I see that in the next few years, the mix for the electric vehicle industry is still going to be small. So we're watching the market, and as it evolves, we'll be ready to jump on it. We have all the technology that's there. I think it is the future.
Thank you so much, Partha, for this conversation. And yeah, I've got lots of good pointers, which lots of our viewers are going to find very interesting. Thank you so much taking out time, and stay home, stay safe.
My pleasure. Same to you. Stay home, stay safe, and hello to all the viewers. Thanks again.